Can caffeine from coffee enhance memory performance in college students? As college students, we have noticed the overwhelmingly high consumption of coffee drinking among our peers. Many of these regular coffee drinkers believe that drinking coffee not only keeps them awake, but helps their retention of memory. We decided to test whether caffeine from coffee can enhance memory performance in college students. According to a study testing the effects of caffeine on memory performance in college students during their non-optimal time of the day, they found that caffeine is highly beneficial for students in the early morning. There was a significant improvement in explicit memory in the morning, but no altered memory performance in the afternoon. Another study tested the effects of caffeine on learning and memory in rats. Before they were put into a water maze, 12 adult male rats received caffeine either 30 minutes before training, immediately after training, or 30 minutes before the testing session. It was found that caffeine given immediately after training improved memory retention, while pre-testing caffeine resulted in a small increase in memory retrieval. Keeping these two studies in mind, we wanted to observe how caffeine affects memory performance in college students when they learn a boring or dull subject, because students must often take classes that they are not interested in to fulfill requirements for their major or general education. We are filling a gap in existing research that lacks information on whether caffeine enhances memory for boring subjects rather than just in general. The boring video will test how subjects perform when attention span is decreased significantly.
We would hypothesize that when students view a video about a boring subject, students who drink caffeinated coffee beforehand will receive better retention test scores than students who do not drink caffeinated coffee beforehand. To perform the study, we would randomly select 100 undergraduate students from a college campus, then assign 25 college students each to one of our 4 testing groups using a random number generator. All the groups will receive their drinks 30 minutes before watching the video on a boring subject. The independent variable is whether or not the students have caffeine before watching the video. Each group would be unaware of the other possible drink options and would also be unaware of what the study entails in order to protect against biases. The dependent variable is how well the students remember the video, as determined by a retention test that they would take immediately after watching the video. The retention test will have 15 fill-in-the-blank questions with a large word bank. This will be testing the subject's memory retention in the presence or absence of caffeine. We are using a word bank in order to ensure that there's one objectively correct answer when grading the test. In order to ensure that our independent variable is the only thing affecting our dependent variable, we use the following controls. All students get the same amount of sleep the night before, watch the same boring video, take the same retention test, and are all in roughly the same age group.
The first group would be given caffeinated coffee. The second group would be given decaf coffee. By comparing this group's test results to the caffeinated coffee group's test results, we can determine whether participants are affected by the placebo effect, and therefore perform differently based on simply believing that they are drinking caffeine. The third group would be given water. The fourth group will not receive anything. By comparing the test results of these two groups, we can determine whether simply having some sort of drink improves memory performance. After consuming their drinks in separate rooms, the 4 groups will enter the same room to watch a 30-minute video on a boring subject together in the same room. This video will have been previously determined boring by another study in which participants rate their reactions to various videos. Immediately after watching the video, all participants will take the same retention test. Their scores on these tests will show whether or not caffeine affected the students' memory of the boring video. All participants will be informed and given $1 for every retention question they are able to correctly answer. This will motivate participants to give their best effort in our study.
There are some limitations to our study. Decaf coffee isn't a pure placebo because it isn't completely caffeine-free. 3% of your generic cup of decaf coffee contains caffeine. This may slightly change our results for decaf coffee, but the amount is still so small that it won't have a significant impact. Despite the limitations, our study has many strengths. For example, we set up 4 different groups rather than those with coffee and those without coffee in order to rule out all other possibilities as to why the results of our study came out the way they did. We also have many participants in each group so that we can get a more accurate sample of a broader population and easily identify and eliminate outliers.